Cardiac surgeon warns, this sleep habit is damaging your heart after 60. If you were told that a single, seemingly insignificant habit could drastically alter your life expectancy, especially once you're past the age of 60, would you listen? What if I told you that merely one of these common silent mistakes, if made tonight, could mean your heart might not survive until morning? This isn't hyperbole, it's a stark reality, one faced by countless individuals. The alarming truth is that most people over the age of 60 inadvertently make at least 3 of these critical errors every night without the slightest awareness. I understand this might sound dramatic, perhaps even sensationalist, but I urge you to stay with me for a moment longer. The information I am about to impart has the profound potential to genuinely save your life or the life of someone you deeply care about. Tonight, my purpose is to illuminate the silent dangers that unfold within your body as you sleep. These aren't mistakes that cause sharp pain or trigger loud, immediate alarms. They are the insidious kind that operate beneath the radar, offering no second chances once their cumulative effect takes hold. Crucially, beyond merely exposing these hidden pitfalls, I will reveal straightforward, actionable strategies to rectify them, ensuring your heart is protected long before your head even touches the pillow. Let me begin by recounting a story that, even now, years later, weighs heavily on my conscience and profoundly shapes my practice. It involves a man in his late 60s who presented at my office for what he believed was nothing more than a routine checkup. By all outward appearances, he was the picture of health for his age, active, still driving himself around, even working part-time. He described his general well-being as pretty good for his age, a sentiment I often hear. His blood pressure readings were slightly elevated, but not alarmingly so, and his cholesterol levels hovered at a manageable borderline point. Everything seemed, on the surface, unremarkable. However, when I inquired about his sleep patterns, he simply shrugged, offering the all-too-common response, "Not great, but then who sleeps great at my age?" That single sentence, that dismissive mindset, echoed a dangerous, widespread misconception that is far more perilous than most people ever come to realize. 2 short weeks later, his wife discovered him unresponsive in bed. There had been no warning signs, no sudden chest pain, no desperate emergency call in the dead of night, just an abrupt, heartbreaking silence. When I spoke with his grieving wife afterward, she repeated a tragic refrain I've heard far too many times in my career. He said he was just tired. We honestly thought it was normal. This narrative, tragically common, underscores a profound truth that rarely gets articulated clearly enough in popular discourse. Your heart, contrary to popular belief, is not at its safest when you are asleep. In fact, for a significant portion of the population over the age of 55, the hours of nighttime represent a period when the heart is subjected to its most perilous and dangerous forms of stress. This isn't the overt, unmistakable stress you might feel during vigorous exercise or moments of intense emotional upheaval. Rather, it's a quiet, insidious kind of strain, one that accumulates slowly, silently, and relentlessly while you are utterly unconscious and vulnerable. During sleep, your blood pressure naturally shifts, breathing patterns can become erratic, oxygen levels frequently dip, and small, seemingly harmless daily habits can, when combined in the dark solitude of night, suddenly transform into genuinely life-threatening scenarios. As Dr. Robert Harrison, I have dedicated decades of my professional life to meticulously studying the intricate physiological changes that occur within the human heart during sleep. My research has involved the exhaustive review of thousands upon thousands of cases directly associated with nighttime cardiac events. From sudden, unexplained deaths occurring during sleep to elusive heart rhythm disturbances that only manifest their dangerous presence after the stroke of midnight. And what I can impart to you with absolute, unwavering certainty based on this extensive body of evidence is this: the vast majority of these tragic events are not random acts of fate. They are, almost without exception, the direct result of entirely preventable mistakes. These are mistakes that people are often completely unaware they are even making, believing they are merely following routine, or worse, doing something beneficial for their health. The first of these critical mistakes is incredibly common, so prevalent, in fact, that almost everyone who commits it genuinely believes they are acting wisely. This first fundamental error is going to bed in a state of dehydration. Most individuals, particularly those in their senior years, make a conscious and intentional decision to curtail their fluid intake in the evening hours. Their reasoning seems entirely logical on the surface. They wish to avoid the inconvenience of waking up multiple times during the night to use the bathroom. This feels practical, a sensible adjustment to maintain an uninterrupted night's rest. However, inside your body, a vastly different and far more precarious process is unfolding. When your body is deprived of adequate hydration, your blood literally thickens. This increased viscosity compels your heart to work significantly harder, struggling to pump the now denser blood efficiently through your circulatory system. Consequently, your circulation slows down, your body's delicate blood pressure regulation mechanisms become unstable and less effective, and, most critically, your risk of dangerous clot formation dramatically increases. This physiological vulnerability is exacerbated during the nocturnal hours, specifically between approximately 2 a.m. and 6 a.m., a period when your heart rate naturally slows and your blood pressure tends to fluctuate more significantly. This perilous combination, thicker, sluggish blood coupled with slower overall circulation, creates precisely the conditions under which heart attacks and strokes are most likely to occur. I have had numerous patients express to me that they deliberately refrain from drinking water after dinner, convinced they are safeguarding their sleep quality. What they remain tragically oblivious to is that, in their misguided attempt to preserve sleep, they may be unwittingly placing their heart at catastrophic risk. Let me be clear, this advice is not an endorsement to chug copious amounts of water right before climbing into bed, which indeed could lead to nocturnal awakenings. However, the extreme opposite, completely avoiding all fluids for several hours leading up to sleep, is a silent but profound danger. Instead, a modest glass of water, roughly half a cup, consumed approximately 30 to 60 minutes before bedtime, can make an enormous and meaningful difference. This small, deliberate act helps maintain optimal blood flow and viscosity, ensuring your circulatory system operates more smoothly during the most vulnerable hours of the night, reducing the strain on your tirelessly working heart. But, and this is a crucial distinction, proper hydration, vital as it is, will not be sufficient to protect you if you are simultaneously making the second critical mistake, one directly related to your sleeping posture. The second profound mistake many people make, often without realizing the inherent danger, is sleeping completely flat on their back when their heart is no longer robust enough to handle the physiological demands of such a position. Lying perfectly flat feels natural, comfortable, and for many years, countless individuals have adopted this posture without a second thought. It's often seen as the quintessential resting position. However, as we age, the heart's remarkable ability to effectively manage and redistribute fluid shifts within the body undergoes significant changes. When you lie perfectly flat, gravity causes body fluids, particularly those from your lower extremities, to redistribute and accumulate more extensively towards your chest cavity. This fluid shift can substantially increase the pressure within your lungs, creating a condition known as pulmonary congestion, and consequently forcing your heart to work considerably harder to pump blood against this elevated resistance. For individuals already contending with conditions like high blood pressure, congestive heart failure, or even a mild, undiagnosed underlying heart weakness, this seemingly innocuous sleeping position can become profoundly dangerous. Allow me to pose a critically important question. Have you ever been jolted awake in the middle of the night feeling inexplicably short of breath, or found yourself needing to sit upright to breathe more comfortably? This, Sensation is not simply a symptom of anxiety, nor is it merely an inevitable part of the aging process. It is, in fact, your heart overtly signaling that it is struggling, laboring intensely under the specific and often challenging conditions of nighttime physiology. I once treated a patient who, for years, had habitually slept with a veritable stack of multiple pillows piled beneath her head. When I probed her about this unusual arrangement, she admitted she didn't consciously know why. It was simply the only way she felt comfortable. Her body, through its innate wisdom, had instinctively figured out and compensated for a problem that her conscious mind had not yet recognized. By subtly elevating her upper body, she was, in essence, unknowingly reducing the acute strain on her heart and lungs. She wasn't being particular or fussy about her sleep setup. She was instinctively compensating for an underlying cardiac challenge. A slight elevation, merely a few inches, perhaps achieved with a wedge pillow or by propping the head of the bed, can dramatically mitigate nighttime cardiac stress. There's no need to resort to sleeping upright in a chair or invest in prohibitively expensive specialized medical equipment. Even a gentle incline allows gravity to assist, preventing excessive fluid accumulation in the chest, thereby helping your heart and lungs collaborate more efficiently and less strenuously while you sleep. Yet, even optimizing your sleeping posture won't provide adequate protection if you are simultaneously falling prey to the third critical mistake, which is frequently one of the most dangerously overlooked of all. The third significant error, frequently underestimated and potentially lethal, is taking the wrong helper before bed. Sleep aids, in their various forms, have become incredibly pervasive in modern society. Over-the-counter remedies, seemingly innocuous nighttime pain relievers, widely available supplements like melatonin, and various prescription sleep medications are all too often perceived as harmless solutions to the universal desire for a good night's rest. However, what many people fail to realize is that a substantial number of these substances can critically interfere with natural breathing patterns, dangerously lower oxygen saturation levels, or disrupt the delicate electrical rhythms of the heart, particularly in older adults whose physiological systems are often more fragile and less resilient. Throughout my career, I have reviewed countless, profoundly unsettling cases where individuals passed away peacefully in their sleep. Yet, upon a deeper, more rigorous investigation, it became chillingly apparent that a seemingly benign nighttime medication had played a pivotal and often fatal role in their demise. The most insidious aspect of these medications is their tendency not to produce obvious, alarming symptoms. You don't experience searing pain. You don't wake up gasping dramatically for air. Instead, your heart rhythm might simply become subtly unstable, or your blood oxygen levels might just dip imperceptibly enough to quietly trigger a fatal cardiac event. Patients frequently tell me, "I only take it when I really need to sleep," implying a rarity that mitigates risk. But the sobering truth is that sometimes, just once, is enough to initiate a catastrophic cascade of events. This risk is compounded and becomes exponentially higher if you already suffer from loud, habitual snoring, have documented episodes where you stop breathing entirely during sleep, a hallmark of sleep apnea, or consistently wake up feeling utterly unrefreshed and exhausted, despite having ostensibly slept for many hours. This is precisely why it is paramount to ask a very specific, pointed question when considering any nighttime medication or supplement. Not just, is this safe, but rather, is this truly safe for my heart specifically while I sleep? If the answer to that precise question is not immediately clear, definitive, and reassuring, that should instantly register as a significant red flag, warranting further investigation and discussion with your physician. But medication isn't the sole category of critical factors that people consistently overlook at night. The fourth mistake deals with a different kind of oversight. The fourth pervasive mistake, often rooted in our remarkable human capacity for adaptation, is the dangerous habit of dismissing nighttime symptoms that you have, over time, simply gotten used to. Humans are incredibly resilient and adaptable creatures, a trait that can sometimes work against our best interests. We tend to normalize discomfort, to rationalize away troubling signs, telling ourselves that poor quality sleep, persistent snoring, inexplicable night sweats, or routinely waking up feeling exhausted are just part of getting older, an unavoidable tax of advancing years. However, your heart, unlike your resilient mindset, does not possess the same capacity to adapt to or tolerate chronic stress indefinitely. It will continue to function under duress, enduring mounting strain until it simply can no longer do so. Symptoms such as loud, habitual snoring, episodes of gasping or choking during sleep, waking up with a racing heart, palpitations, experiencing persistent morning headaches, or enduring extreme debilitating fatigue are not merely inconvenient. Sleep issues. They are, in fact, urgent and unequivocal signs of significant nighttime cardiac strain. One of the most common and profoundly dangerous conditions related to this pattern of dismissal is sleep apnea. Sleep apnea is a disorder characterized by repeated involuntary pauses in breathing or shallow breaths during sleep, leading to recurrent drops in blood oxygen saturation levels throughout the night. This intermittent hypoxia forces the heart to work exponentially harder under conditions of low oxygen, a tremendously stressful environment for cardiac tissue. Over time, this chronic stress dramatically elevates the risk of serious cardiovascular events, including heart attacks, strokes, and tragically, sudden death during sleep. What renders sleep apnea particularly perilous is the fact that a vast number of individuals who suffer from it remain entirely unaware they have the condition. Often, it is their bed partner who first notices the loud snoring, the unsettling breathing pauses, or the restless sleep, while the person actually experiencing these events has absolutely no memory of them. I once asked a patient why he had never mentioned his chronic, severe snoring. He chuckled and replied that his wife complained about it incessantly, but he had always dismissed it as a harmless annoyance. It was anything but harmless. Once he was correctly diagnosed with sleep apnea and began appropriate treatment, in his case, a CPAP machine, his erratic heart rhythm stabilized, his previously sky-high blood pressure lowered significantly, and his energy levels miraculously returned. Ignoring these vital nighttime symptoms does not make you resilient or tough. It renders you profoundly vulnerable to a silent, escalating threat, and all of these preceding errors ultimately converge, leading us directly toward the fifth and final mistake, the overarching one that inextricably ties everything together and often determines whether the heart truly receives the restorative rest it so desperately needs at night. But before we delve into that ultimate mistake, let me reiterate this point with absolute clarity. None of these 5 mistakes feel inherently dangerous in the moment they occur. This insidious quality is precisely what makes them so deadly. They don't cause immediate pain. They don't trigger a primal sense of fear or alarm. Instead, they subtly and relentlessly set the stage for future catastrophe. And what happens next, culminating in the final mistake, is something almost everyone catastrophically underestimates, particularly in the quiet, reflective moments just before sleep claims them. Now we arrive at the fifth and final, profoundly impactful mistake. In many fundamental ways, this is the pivotal error that ultimately determines whether all the other individual mistakes become genuinely dangerous or remain merely minor inconveniences. Because even if you conscientiously ensure proper hydration, carefully adjust your sleeping position to an optimal angle, diligently avoid risky medications, and become adept at recognizing subtle warning signs, there remains one pervasive, often overlooked factor that can quietly and completely undermine all of those diligent efforts. And it is something that most people mistakenly believe is either a normal part of life or an unavoidable consequence of their daily existence. The fifth and arguably most critical mistake is going to sleep with a heart that is already profoundly stressed. The vast majority of people conceptualize stress as an exclusively daytime phenomenon. We associate it with looming deadlines at work, the relentless burden of bills, complex family issues, receipt of distressing news, or heated arguments. These are indeed legitimate sources of stress. However, what very few people truly comprehend is that the emotional and mental state you carry into sleep fundamentally dictates how your heart will perform and behave for the subsequent 6 to 8 hours of the night. If you habitually retire to bed feeling tense, consumed by anxiety, simmering with anger, or your mind is still racing and overstimulated from the day's events, your nervous system does not simply switch off the moment you close your eyes. Instead, potent stress hormones, such as cortisol and adrenaline, remain stubbornly elevated in your bloodstream. Your resting heart rate, which should naturally decline significantly during sleep, remains persistently higher than it ought to be. Your blood pressure, which is physiologically programmed to undergo a crucial nocturnal dip known as dipping for restorative purposes, fails to do so adequately. Consequently, your heart never truly enters the profound state of rest and repair it so desperately requires. I have observed this distressing pattern countless times in my practice. Patients whose daytime diagnostic test results appear perfectly acceptable, sometimes even exemplary, but who then manifest dangerous and inexplicable heart rhythm disturbances that materialize exclusively during the nocturnal hours. When we delve deeper into their lifestyles and daily routines, the common thread is not always diet or exercise. Far more frequently, it is the persistent burden of unresolved, chronic stress that is unthinkingly carried into the sanctity of sleep. One patient eloquently described it to me. "Nighttime is when my thoughts get loud." And it was precisely during those noisy, turbulent nighttime hours that her heart was subjected to its most intense and damaging strain. Your heart is exquisitely designed to slow down, to de-escalate its activity, and to enter a state of profound calm during the night. This is the physiological window when cellular repair occurs, when tissues regenerate, and when your nervous system makes a vital shift into recovery mode, dominated by the parasympathetic rest and digest branch. But it simply cannot execute these essential restorative functions if your mind is incessantly replaying worries, if you are mindlessly scrolling through alarming news feeds on your phone, or if you are lying in bed, tense, alert, and mentally agitated. From the heart's physiological perspective, the source of stress is irrelevant. It doesn't differentiate between a perceived physical threat, such as being chased by a predator, and a purely mental threat, like financial worries or relationship stress. The body's primal stress response is activated in precisely the same way. This fundamental truth explains why heart attacks, strokes, and fatal arrhythmias exhibit such a disturbingly high incidence in the early morning hours. The heart, deprived of genuine rest, has been forced to labor under elevated stress hormones and increased workload throughout the entire night. Eventually, something inevitably gives way under this relentless pressure, and the profound tragedy in most of these cases is that individuals never establish the crucial connection between the emotional and mental state they carried into bed and the catastrophic event that unfolded while they slept. Now, here's the genuinely good news, and this is an incredibly important point to absorb. This particular fifth mistake, despite its profound impact, is paradoxically one of the easiest to rectify. It doesn't necessitate complex medication regimens, expensive medical equipment, or radical, disruptive lifestyle overhauls. What it fundamentally requires is a conscious decision, a deliberate, unwavering decision to actively create a buffer zone, a sacred transition period, between the demands and stresses of your day and the restorative embrace of your sleep. Think of it as formally giving your heart explicit permission to stand down, to transition from its daytime vigilance to its nocturnal repair mode. A simple, consistent wind-down routine even if it lasts for a mere 20 minutes, possesses the power to dramatically alter how your heart functions and behaves throughout the entire night. This routine should explicitly exclude confrontational arguments, emotionally heavy conversations, frantic doom scrolling through negative news, or consuming television content that actively stimulates your mind and keeps you alert. Instead, cultivate an environment of calm. Dim the lights in your living space. Consciously slow your breathing, making each inhale and exhale deliberate and prolonged. Sit quietly, perhaps engaging in gentle stretching exercises to release physical tension. For those inclined, prayer or meditation can be incredibly effective. Or quite simply, focus solely on breathing slowly and deeply, allowing your diaphragm to expand and contract. This isn't abstract philosophy, it is undeniable physiology. When your breathing rate intentionally slows, your heart rate invariably follows suit, a direct physiological link mediated by the vagus nerve. I frequently advise my patients to visualize themselves speaking directly to their heart before they drift off to sleep, murmuring soothing affirmations like, "You're safe now, you can rest." It might sound overly simplistic, even a little bit silly, but the nervous system, with its ancient primal wiring, responds powerfully to such calming signals, not to abstract logic. Calm, reassuring signals reliably produce calm, restorative physiological responses. Now, let's zoom out and consider the broader picture, because this is where all 5 critical insights seamlessly converge into a comprehensive understanding. None of the individual 5 mistakes we have meticulously discussed, going to bed dehydrated, sleeping completely flat, relying on unsafe sleep aids, ignoring nighttime symptoms, or carrying unresolved stress into sleep, are inherently dramatic or alarming on their own. This insidious lack of overt drama is precisely what makes them so profoundly dangerous. They don't feel like immediate medical emergencies demanding urgent attention. Instead, they manifest as seemingly harmless, ingrained habits. Skipping that evening glass of water, routinely sleeping in a flat posture, popping a pill to achieve rest, casually dismissing persistent snoring, or habitually bringing the day's anxieties to bed. Each one of these seemingly minor actions quietly and incrementally amplifies the strain on your heart during the nocturnal hours. And when several of these detrimental habits occur in combination, night after night, year after year, the cumulative burden eventually pushes the heart to its absolute breaking point. The individuals who tragically suffer sudden cardiac events in their sleep are almost never overtly reckless in their daily lives. They are not consciously ignoring glaring, obvious danger signs or engaging in intentionally self-destructive behaviors. More often than not, they are simply doing what they've always done, adhering to established routines that have, unbeknownst to them, slowly eroded their cardiac resilience. And this profound truth is why awareness of these nocturnal dangers matters so immensely. Because once you are equipped with the knowledge of precisely what places your heart at risk during sleep, you are empowered to implement small, seemingly insignificant changes that can collectively yield outsized, life-preserving effects. So, let's make this vital information eminently practical starting tonight. Before you prepare for bed, commit to integrating 5 simple, gentle corrections into your evening routine. First, ensure you drink a small glass of water earlier in the evening, well before the final hour or 2 before sleep. The goal here is not to cause disruptive nocturnal awakenings, but simply to provide enough hydration to protect your circulation and prevent blood thickening during the most vulnerable hours. Second, thoughtfully adjust your sleeping position so that your upper body is gently elevated by a few inches, especially if you have ever experienced sensations of shortness of breath or a need to sit up at night. This subtle incline can significantly ease the workload on your heart and lungs. Third, take a critical moment to question any medication or supplement you currently use to aid sleep. Don't just assume its safety. Actively ask yourself, or better yet, consult your doctor. Is this truly heart safe, specifically for me, while I am asleep? If there's any ambiguity, consider it a warning. Fourth, commit to paying serious attention to any nighttime symptoms you have previously brushed off as normal or an unavoidable consequence of aging, such as loud snoring, gasping, or morning fatigue. These are often crucial messages from your body that demand investigation. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, consciously give your heart the gift of a calm, quiet, and peaceful transition into sleep. These are not extreme or burdensome measures. They are gentle, thoughtful corrections that collectively make an enormous difference because sleep is far more than mere physical rest. In a very real sense, every night, sleep is a profound test for your heart. It is tested under conditions of naturally lower oxygen levels, slower circulation, and fluctuating pressures. The overarching goal, therefore, is not to inadvertently make that essential nocturnal test harder than it inherently needs to be for your heart. I wish to share one final, deeply significant thought with you, something I fervently wish more people understood much earlier in their lives. When something goes catastrophically wrong with your heart during sleep, there is rarely, if ever, a warning bell. There is no chance to rally, to push through, or to call for help. The nature of these silent nocturnal events means prevention is not merely important. It is paramount and dramatically more effective than any reactive measure could ever be. The heart, in its quiet, diligent work, does not announce when it has finally had enough. It simply, and often abruptly, stops. But the beautiful, empowering opposite of this grim truth is also profoundly real. When you consciously support and care for your heart properly at night, you imbues it with greater resilience, not just during the nocturnal hours, but throughout your entire waking day. Consistently better, more restorative sleep demonstrably improves blood pressure regulation, stabilizes erratic heart rhythms, significantly reduces systemic inflammation, and profoundly enhances both your daily energy levels and your mental clarity. Nighttime cardiac care is not a separate peripheral aspect of overall heart health. It is, in every fundamental sense, the foundational cornerstone upon which lasting cardiovascular well-being is built. So here is my final crucial question for you, and I ask you to consider it with genuine introspection. Which one of these mistakes, having heard them described in detail, do you honestly believe you have been making without truly realizing its potential impact? I'm not asking which one scares you the most, but rather, which one sounds uncomfortably, perhaps even chillingly, familiar? Take a quiet moment, be truly honest with yourself, and identify that habit. If this information, if this video, has shifted your perspective and made you think differently about how you will approach sleep tonight, then I implore you to do one more incredibly important thing. Share it. Share this crucial knowledge with someone you care deeply about, a spouse, a sibling, a cherished friend, an aging parent. Because the most dangerous heart mistakes, the ones that steal lives, do not unfold dramatically in public view. They happen quietly, insidiously, and often fatally in the dark, silent hours while we sleep. And sometimes, just sometimes, the simple act of awareness is enough, profoundly enough, to save a precious life.